please welcome to the stage, Mike Perrion.
Good morning. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the bit. Hope everybody had a nice little weekend, enjoying some hoops. Whatever you got into, we got a busy week this week. Let's do some business off the top, and then we'll get into the weekend's action. We'll get ready for the conference finals, which tips off tomorrow. We got the NBA bit Monday through Friday this week. We've got a new episode of Hoop Sense live tonight on the Count the Dings YouTube channel or wherever you get podcasts. That'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern. Trey's returning. Very exciting. We'll have the 89 Cavs later this week. Lots of fun. Who do we got in the chat? Here we are on Jokerless Monday. Also, what is going on with my settings here? I feel like this has happened multiple times. I like minimal. There we go. Todd in the chat. Let's go. Snoopaloop here. National Devil's Food Cake Day. That's great. Yeah, we need some horse racing content. Let's just dive right into OKC Denver last night. The game 6 and game 7 from this weekend both were over by halftime pretty much here as the Thunder, after a shaky start in the first quarter, then just kind of stepped on them throats. We got J-Mag in the chat who was boots on the ground in the arena yesterday for game 7. I was going to say last night, but that was a day game, baby. In arena for it. And what a game, man. The OKC Thunder just kind of, we haven't seen, we talk about Cleveland and the Cavalanche. I don't know what the Thunder would just call it the thunderstorm, I guess. But when their defense just turns into immediate offense, and that's what it was last night, because yesterday afternoon, there was a time where this stayed like a pretty close game, pretty competitive game. And then all of a sudden they flipped the switch and were just in transition up and down the court. And I mean, let's give OKC the love first here. Look at this shit. So Chet plus 34, J-Dub plus 35. J-Dub, who had a little bit of a quiet first quarter, then finishes the game with 24 points, 7 dimes, and 5 boards on 10 for 17 shooting. Shea did the Shea stuff, right? 35 points. He was a plus 32 out there. People talking about Caruso in the chat who had 11 and 3, but also 3 steals. But Caruso was doing it on the defensive end yesterday. And that was the biggest adjustment for OKC yesterday. And what they did was they put one of their shortest guys on one of the biggest guys. They put Caruso on Jokic, and it took a little bit for Denver. Actually, I wouldn't say it took a little bit because I don't think they figured it out. They just did not make the necessary adjustments mid-game. I don't think that would have been a sustainable thing for a full series, but shout out to the OKC coaching staff for making that sort of tweak there late. And I mean, Denver was just decimated from no shooting. Like, I think we're going to learn Russ is going to have some sort of Jaylen Brown-esque torn ligament. And I'm not even making excuses. I just mean, like, Russ is going to be banged up. You had Michael Porter Jr., who was on one arm, and then Gordon, which, like, listen, we're going to give OKC a little bit more love because we're going to be talking about the next round and everything. Aaron Gordon playing was insane yesterday. For a report to come out early in the morning being like he's got a grade 2 hamstring sprain, and it not just a report from like somebody named Derek2975 on Twitter, right? That came from Shams. And then for Aaron Gordon to be like, no, not so fast. And AG went out there and played. I mean, clearly he was hampered, right? There was that possession where he tried to attack the rim and like went to jump and was like, nope, can't do it. But in that time, for Aaron Gordon, one of the best plus minuses on the team, he finished with 8 points and 11 boards in 25 minutes. But the shooting woes continued, right? Gordon 1 for 3 from 3. Porter 0 for 4. Jokic 1 for 2. Jamal 1 for 8. Brown 2 for 9. And then some garbage time stuff over there. They shot 22% from 3 compared to OKC, who went down and shot 30%, 31% from 3. But I mean, it was just the defense. The defense is what it was, and this is what you kind of expected, honestly, from OKC. I think Jokic, only takes 9 shot attempts in there. And it was just like, that's not going to get it done. But I think they just had no answers, man. This was a game where if Denver was going to hang around, it was going to have to be like a spray and pray situation where everybody's knocking down some shots. You're not going to get away with that. And Christian Brown looked like he had it early as he scored most of the early points there for Denver. But that was not sustainable. And now OKC, they kind of sweat it out. And these are the moments that young teams need to go through before they're. Oh wait, Todd, what are you doing? Todd, aren't you a Warriors fan? A Warriors fan like glazing what happened yesterday is pretty impressive. Aaron Gordon was awesome this year. He was like, he shot, I think, close to 40% from 3 throughout the entire season. He was their second best player at times, won 2 games, had 2 game winners in the playoffs. I really do think we have to recalibrate how we watch sports, guys. We just immediately go out there and try to throw a nuclear bomb on the other situation. I mean, it was a 7-game series. It was a 7-game series against the 1-seeded Thunder, who won 68 games in the regular season. What are we doing? But OKC, like, these were the W's you were looking for as a young team who hasn't had the hashtag playoff experience, who some of their role players weren't really coming through in the clutch. And I'm sure there are going to be some haters out there that are going to be like, oh, yeah, well, let's see J-Dub do it on the road. Sure, let's see him do it on the road. You know what, though? They're going to have home court advantage the rest of the way because they are the best team left, or the best team. They were the overall number 1 seed anyways. So for them to get this like young team to get a W like this, they had 2 different wins in this series where they were down almost double digits in the fourth quarter, to one at home, one at the road. And then to their first like big game 7, and to go out there and just like, same thing as the Knicks Celtics game where it was a little touch and go there for a few minutes, and then bang, like, look at this second quarter. They outscored 39-20, a 19-point differential in the second quarter, and then an 11-point differential in the third quarter. And that is all they wrote. That cooked them. So OKC moves on to take on Minnesota. And let's actually go over to the Eastern Conference, and then we'll kind of preview both of those series and then talk about what some of those teams are doing in the offseason here. But the Celtics-Knicks game, I went out on Friday to a local establishment that wasn't like a crazy sports bar, but we went out to watch the game. My wife was out of town for the weekend, and I was like, let's go take in some action here. And it was honestly, of course I'm bummed as I'm a Celtics fan, right? But it was hard to be mad about it because the energy was just like nuts. And again, this wasn't even this wasn't down near Madison Square Garden. This wasn't like a hashtag sports bar. This was just, like it had the game on. Everybody was locked in. Everybody in the bar was locked in. With every bucket, people were screaming. It was pretty fun. And for the Knicks fans, again, similar to this OKC game, right? They sweat out those early few minutes where Celtics were leading for parts of that first quarter. It was a 6-point game at the end of 1, and then the Knicks just turned the faucet off. And I think some of the well, yeah, all right, relax, Maddie. I think some of the the Celtics magic of Game 5 wore off, and I don't think anybody really thought that sort of performance was repeatable, right? Where their Celtics aren't going to shoot like that from 3 every single game. Clearly, they hadn't done it that series, but I also didn't think the Knicks were going to play that poorly again. Celtics decide to run out the double bigs as the starters. Luke Cornett was out there with Al Horford, Drew, Derek, and JB. But this game got out of hand right away. And look at Bridges plus 25, OG plus 26, Brunson plus 30, Cat plus 25, Josh Hart plus 24. That is crazy. Even Mitch Rob and Deuce were both plus 20s out there. Just nutso stuff there. Nutso stuff. And New York was the better team this entire series. And Game 6, no Tatum. We learned some Jaylen Brown stuff afterwards, which we'll talk about later. But the Knicks were just they weren't gonna lay an egg again like that. Even though it was a little queasy there in that first quarter, they really just kind of stamped them out, and now they get to move on to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Indiana Pacers. And I thought you look at the 4 teams that are left, right? We have we have the Pacers, who have they ever won a title? Maybe like some ABA stuff, right? Minnesota, the Timberwolves haven't won a title, have they? Right? Not that the Lakers franchise has the Minneapolis ones. I don't think the Timberwolves have won one. OKC has not won a title, right? Unless you're giving them the Seattle Supersonics one. And then the Knicks haven't won a title in like since the 70s, right? So I don't know. This is kind of fun. The final four teams that we have left here is pretty good. Yeah, it's gonna be exciting, I think, between these four. And I think that it's still kind of anybody's game. Like if you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, obviously they are the betting favorite, right? I wouldn't be shocked if like Minnesota, who has played OKC solidly all season long, they're clearly not like afraid of this team. They're going to hang tight with them. I think Ant-Man's not going to be scared of everybody. I don't think I haven't figured out what my pick is going to be yet, but I think OKC is going to get through there. Honestly, I don't even think it's going to take that many games, but I think they'll all be like competitive games. I think it'll be a close but short series. And then the Knicks Pacers, man, your guess is as good as mine. I think what's so exciting about this Knicks Pacers series is like, I think the Knicks, if they are going to win this series, have to go up 2-0. They do have home court here in this round, right? It's a 3 seed versus a 4 seed, if that's correct, right? 3 seed versus 4 seed, and then it's a 1 seed versus 6 seed in the West. But I think the longer this series goes, the more it benefits the Pacers because of the way that they play. I just think with the short rotation that the Knicks are going to be playing, like those starters playing 40 plus minutes every game, and the way that the Pacers defend, where they're going to be picking them up full court. I mean, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, like those guys are going to get worn down a little bit. OG Anunoby as well. And I'm not trying to say I'm out on Brunson and I'm out on the Knicks. I do think the Knicks could get out there and take those first 2 games at home and then try to get it done in 5. I think if this goes back to Indiana 1-1, the Pacers are taking this series. I think the longer it goes, the better it benefits Indiana. But again, it's hard to bet against this Knicks team where Brunson just, like Magic Carp said in the chat, Indy has the on-ball guard defense that matches well versus Brunson, but that said, Brunson's unguardable. Like, so did the Celtics, and honestly, Jalen Brunson single-handedly just, like, ruined Drew Holiday's trade value this offseason, as we'll talk about the Celtics offseason in a bit, but, like, that was one of the worst series I've seen Drew Holiday play, and it's like, is Drew terrible, or is Jalen Brunson just a man amongst boys? But, yeah, I think this series is going to be a lot of fun. Cat, historically speaking, I believe has beaten up Miles Turner quite a bit. However, this postseason, Miles Turner, very different. Very different. Miles Turner has been playing some of the best basketball in his career. And like Cat has been hot and cold. Shout out Katy Perry. Common Man says Tibbs or Rick Carlisle. I would lean Carlisle there. But man, it's going to be both of these series. I think are going to be super competitive and very fun, and I think the fan bases will be losing their mind. But yeah, I think like they should win the big matchup. And then I guess it's just like, what version of OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges do you get? Because that version of Mikal Bridges that we saw in this second round, I think like really raises the ceiling for what the Knicks can do here. And you got to assume, like, defensively, right? The Knicks are probably throwing Bridges on. You throw Bridges on Jalen Brunson. You throw I'm sorry. You throw Bridges on Tyrese Halliburton. OG Anunoby probably gets the Siakam, right? And then do they hide Brunson on Aaron Nesmith in this round and like say, go ahead, Nesmith, try to beat us? Or you put Brunson on Nembhard and then Nesmith and Josh Hart. I don't know. I think it's going to be fun. Magic Carp said the key is how relentless is New York at getting to the rim, since Indy does suck at rim defense still. Yeah. I think that, yeah, again, I think Cat doing some work. Are they going to get aggressive? Todd says Obi Toppin's a dog. Yeah, I guess if you love 18 minutes a game, baby, he's a dog. But I do like that Obi Toppin, second consecutive Eastern Conference Finals appearance. Again, revenge. We get so much revenge happening. So much revenge. Toppin revenge. That's the only one I can think about. Stan says if they make the finals where the 5 picks were, you know what? I'll tell you right now, if you ask Knicks fans, the 5 picks are already worth it. I think they're already worth it. This is such a fun run for them. They haven't been to the conference finals since, I don't know how long, a long time ago, 90s, 2099. They will absolutely take it. They will absolutely take this run. And as Josh Hart said, so it's a bunch of teenagers we don't have. So I think I think they're absolutely fine with that, especially with how Bridges has played in the postseason. That's why you got him. You know, you don't need Mikal Bridges averaging 25 for you in the regular season. You just need him balling. Let's see. Who has the most playoff experience among those 4 teams? Like, what player does? Yeah, Caruso probably. Brunson's played in a bunch of series, right? We forget he was with Dallas for a couple of rounds. Remember when Luka went down and I think it was against Utah Jazz and Brunson just went at Utah and stole a game for him without Luka. I'm trying to think of who else. Rudy Gobert. Rudy's been in a ton of playoffs. So is Mike Conley. But yeah, man, this is going to be a great. So I think OKC is the clear favorite of those 4 to take a chip, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at any of these. All right, are we back? Can you guys see me okay? I know I was frozen. Just said the Wi-Fi went down real bad. And then I tried to play video. The video wouldn't play. We're back. Okay, man. It's still telling me I have a bad signal, which is crazy because I am not on Wi-Fi. That's always the weirdest thing to me is it's like, oh, you got bad Wi-Fi. We're like, we're Ethernet, bro. There you go. You're welcome. You're welcome, brother. Just grainy. All right. I should be back now. I think we should be in good shape now. I forgot where I was, but I'm very excited. I'm very excited about this postseason. I'm bummed that the Celtics aren't done. Let's do some offseason stuff here for the teams that just got eliminated. Bobby Marks reported that Christian Brown is probably going to be looking at $30 million. So I don't know what Denver does. I don't know what Boston does, and I don't know what Cleveland does. I think all 3 of those teams are in similar situations, except for the Celtics are different. Let's actually just start with Boston. So it came out that right afterwards that Jaylen Brown had a partially torn meniscus in his knee, and which is weird because it's not weird because he definitely looked like he was hurt, right? He didn't look 100%. Weird because they said it was a bone bruise a couple weeks ago. So I can't believe he played through that. I imagine he's going to require some offseason surgery here. But this is a reminder, and I think this is different than the LeBron thing, right? Everybody was like, oh, congrats, LeBron. You were hurt. You weren't going to be able to play. This is different because Jaylen Brown missed some time at the end of the regular season. He was questionable all through the first round. It was so clear he was playing hurt. No more Jaylen Brown slander. No more. And we already did this last week. But just a reminder, Jaylen Brown is an all-star, a finals MVP. Sure, I would love for him to dribble more succinctly with his left hand. That's just not going to happen at this point, okay? But no JB slander after playing through that for freaking partially torn meniscus, which I called a tendon on TikTok, and then a bunch of dorks were like, it's actually not a tendon, it's cartilage. Congrats, nerds. But yeah, so JB probably going to require some surgery. Now, I mentioned the Drew Holiday stuff. So he's got 3 years left. I think 105 million. It's 35 million, 36 million, 37 million for the next 3 years. And I don't know. This whole season was pretty tough for him. And I was in one of those camps. I think Bill Simmons mentioned this too, where it was like, oh yeah, dude, they're just saving Drew. They're saving Drew. No need for Drew to ball out now. Let's just save him. He played 62 games this year. He averaged 11 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists on 44% from the field, 35% from 3, 91% from the line. But I think what was more concerning was the defensive presence we saw, especially in that series against the Knicks. Man, he was bad out there. The Pritchard minutes felt better than the Holiday minutes, even on the defensive end. And that's you don't want that. You don't want that. So. The Celtics are clearly with no Tatum for the whole season, even though people were like, dude, I actually wouldn't worry about it because he was able to get the surgery the same day. So I don't know. It was the same day the Superman commercial went out. So maybe Tatum's going to be fine. Tatum's not going to play next year. So you've got this team that's above the second apron that's going to cost hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars that realistically looks like they'll make the playoffs if they want to and then get bounced in the first round most likely. So I don't know I don't know how they handle this. Now, Porzingis is another one who's an expiring contract. So that asset has a little bit more value because you're not taking on the next 3 years like you were with Drew Holiday, where Zinger, it's just 1 year. The problem with Porzingis is much like Drew Holiday, he also tanked his his value this playoffs because of the fact Porzingis just couldn't breathe or whatever. We still don't know exactly what KP is battling. And so I'm assuming we'll get word on that soon. But I don't really know. I don't really know what Porzingis. I don't even know what the Celtics move is. Because if those guys don't have a ton of value, then are you also like, if you're just trying to get under the cap, are you like putting other assets with the Drew Holiday trade? Like, I don't really know. I don't really know what they do. And then the other big question is like, what do you move Jaylen Brown then? Is that how you actually get more assets? Do you move off somebody like JB, who obviously is still all-star caliber, and then you can get some real assets back? I don't really know. I don't know. Because this team, assuming one of Drew or KP are gone, right? But you still have JB, the other one, Pritchard, Derek White. This team is still going to be like a 5 seed or a 6 seed. So it's not going to be able to tank all the way down. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't think for the record, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they are trading Jaylen Brown. That's what I was getting at. I think they would actually they might have to attach some other assets to Drew. I don't know. I don't really know what they're going to do. I don't know what Boston is going to do. They're in a tough spot. Don't envy being the new owner to immediately come in and have to blow up this team. I will say though, I'm not, what's the right word? They got a championship, man. So I'm not even mad. I'm bummed. Obviously I don't want Tatum to miss a whole year. Obviously this era of the Celtics are done, especially when you look at the rest of the East and what the Pacers and the Knicks are building right now. It's tough to see the path forward, but you paid Drew, you paid Porzingis, you paid Tatum, you paid Brown, and you got a title. And that's what you're ultimately playing for. It's really hard in this current iteration of the league with the second apron and the collective bargaining agreement to build these teams. And I think you're going to see OKC run into this in a couple of years. You're going to see, the Knicks, maybe they continue to take cheaper salaries like Brunson did so that they can keep these guys. But I think you're going to see a lot of it. You're going to see a lot of it. And I don't think it's over for good by any means. Tatum is still going to be an all NBA caliber guy. Jaylen Brown's still going to be an all-star. You can still build around those two guys, but it's just going to look very different the next time this team is in the playoffs. It's going to look very different. I'm hopeful. I think Derek White is probably the guy that he's on the best contract that could bring back the best value. But I love Derek White so much that I hope the Celtics don't move off of him. Let's go to Cleveland here for a second, because they also are in similar situations here where Bill Simmons put out something that was like Evan Mobley for Giannis, who says no. I just fucking both of them. They're not going to do that. I mean, the Cavs wouldn't say no, but why would Milwaukee do that unless he's like, you can only send me to Cleveland? It's just not going to happen. That's dumb. But Cleveland's going to be in a tough situation because, you're already paying Spida a ton of money. All these guys are under contract, like their core four. Mobley, now winning Defensive Player of the Year, his contract goes up a little bit more. And are they going to just continue to stay? Are they just going to keep paying for this team, or are they going to try to move some pieces around? The other thing about moving pieces around, and this kind of goes back to Boston too, there's only 3 teams that are in the market to move pieces around, right? Because of the same restrictions, other teams aren't out there doing it. Regulator said Allen will be easy to trade. Maybe he's one of them, but it's the Rockets are going to be ready to make some moves for sure. Mavericks, maybe they still get a little dicey. The Spurs, maybe they're moving around. Maybe the Sixers, but I don't know, man. I don't really know what kind of moves other teams what fringe contenders are going to be trying to trade for these guys, that have the flexibility in the cap, because most of the teams with this kind of cap space are the teams that suck. So I don't really know. I don't really know what they're going to do. But anyways, back to Cleveland. So do they just stay the course? We assume, Ty Jerome's going to be on a different team next year because he's about to get paid. And then DeAndre Hunter, like they're paying a lot for him, man. And he was a little disappointing here in this postseason run. I know he was battling some injuries too. Or does Cleveland like take a hard look in the mirror and they're like, hey, you know what's hard? Winning with two tiny guards. And I know Donovan's been awesome and I know Garland's been hurt, but at some point it's like, can they do this? And they have the excuse of being like, listen, we had all-stars miss multiple games in the postseason. Mobley missed one, Garland missed two, right? DeAndre Hunter missed a game. And maybe they're like, if we just ran this back, if we ran it back and are healthy, and we look at the Eastern Conference with the Celtics falling down a little bit, Orlando probably gets a little bit better, but Milwaukee might be like ass. You know what I'm saying? So they have a very clear like path forward. And everybody's saying they got to run it back. I will say it's going to be hard. Their bench is going to be super thinned out because like Sam Merrill is going to be gone. Yeah, I know how old they all are. My point is they have to pay people. And like Sam Merrill, Ty Jerome, they're probably going to have to move off of DeAndre Hunter. Like it's going to be a very, very expensive team that just got knocked out in the second round. So Donovan Mitchell said he wants to run it back. So there you go. All the Cavs need to do is dump Okoro to get below the apron. Yeah, I'm sure they'll line it. But so, okay, they dump Okoro, but then again, Merrill and Ty Jerome are gone too. Even Dean Wade becomes a little bit expensive. So that's like their entire bench. So I don't know. We'll see. Cleveland's in a tough spot. And in Denver, we go over to Denver, man. They don't have any moves. Denver doesn't have any moves. They don't have any financial flexibility. Michael Porter Jr., I'm not even trying to dunk on MPJ, man, because the fact, like similar to Aaron Gordon, the fact that he was terrible in game one, right? He got benched in game one, but then came out and balled the rest of the He tried really hard the rest of the series, considering he was playing on one shoulder. And I think for no one's trading for Michael Porter Jr., right? There's no one's like, hey, we'll give you 3 pieces for Michael Porter Jr. Nobody's doing that. So MPJ is still going to be on this team. Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Joker, all under contract. Christian Brown, as I mentioned, Bobby Marks tweeted out he's about to get $30 million. I don't know. Like, what do you do if you're Denver? You're just kind of stuck here, right? Which, I mean, stuck here is probably not the worst thing. They just took the number 1 seed to a 7-game series. And I mentioned this earlier. I think we're like really quick to just be like, wow, this team is trash. This team is screwed. I mean, again, a 7-game series against the OKC Thunder team who won 68 games. And like, yes, they are so desperate for shooting. I think Russ has a player option. I'm sure he's picking that up. I can't imagine someone else is like, here you go, here's more money. But I don't know what they do unless all of a sudden Peyton Watson can knock down consistent threes or Julian Strother gets better this offseason. Other than Denver, who can give Brown $30 million, I'm not sure. Let me see if I can find the tweet from Bobby. That was all I saw was his tweet this morning. Because Bobby Marks, he's locked in, baby. He already posted an offseason guide. All right, let's see. They're projected. Actually, I can just share this screen. Let me share screen here. Let's throw it in there. Sorry, guys. 1 second, please. This is from Bobby Marks for you podcast listeners. So the starting 5 coming back, you have Murray, Brown, Porter, Gordon, Jokes. Russell Westbrook, Jalen Pickett, and Julian Strother. The Pickett and Strother under contract, a player option over here for Russ. Same thing, a player option for Dario Saric. Unbelievable. Projected salary is $200 million, 201. So they're over the first apron, but under the second apron. Free agents of Vlatko Konkar, DeAndre Jordan, and then some guys I haven't heard of. I don't know what they do, man. I really don't know what they do. I think they're in a little bit of trouble. And I think they'll be in the same thing. Like they'll be in that 2 to 7 seed every single year with the rest of the Western Conference, though, with the rest of the West. Like outside of the Timberwolves and the Thunder, I don't imagine we see like any of these big West teams take big jumps. Yeah, the Najee deal is crazy. The Zeke Najee deal is crazy. But that's Denver. And then Golden State. I mean, all the Kuminga rumors started immediately, right? Where Jonathan Kuminga is probably going to do sign in trade with Golden State, and then some team will take them. And Golden State, I think, is a pretty fun team for next season if you think Steph and Jimmy can stay healthy, right? If they can find some more consistent shooting, I think you want Buddy Hield playing 18 to 22 minutes a game, not 35 minutes a game, right? And then you need another big. You need shooting in a big. You can't be asking Draymond Green to play center for 72 games a year or 82 games a year. How many games? You can't be asking him to play center this whole time. He's like 34, 35, whatever, how old he is. You can't be doing that. They need another big man. I know Steven Adams got thrown around there a little bit. I think that would be kind of fun. So I don't know. Shoot. And Todd was saying we need either a shooter for Kuminga or a point guard to help Steph. Yeah, I think Pajemski, too, is going to continue to handle some of the offensive load for the second unit. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. But I do think of those four teams that we just talked about, I weirdly feel best about Golden State to come back next year and all of a sudden being like a top 4 team in the West. I don't think that's crazy. I think if you just see how Golden State was playing that second half of the year, and I know a lot of people have talked about this, but Golden State basically had to treat February on as the playoffs. And so they were just out of gas by the time they got there. And I think if they have a full season of a healthy Steph, a healthy Jimmy, and then whatever they get for JK, I do think there is a shot that they can, hang around. We get a deep threat in the chat. Let's go. What up? A deep threat? Says Draymond about to come out with a full white Harden beard next season. Here for it, man. Here for it. But yeah, I think I feel most comfortable in Golden State of those 4 teams of being, playoff ready at this time next year. And Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland, if they bring everybody back too, I shouldn't dunk on them. But yeah, I don't think it's all panic. I mean, it sucks that Steph was playing this crazy ball and to get bounced after like looking so good in the first quarter and then get bounced in that first game 1 of that second round. That sucks. Todd saying Cam Johnson is your dream for a sign and trade with Jonathan Kuminga. Oh, I don't think that's happening, man. I imagine Cam Johnson will go, like, you could get way more than Jonathan Kuminga for that. I don't think they need to do that. Draymond for Jared Allen. That's kind of fun. I don't know if Golden State has the cojones to go ahead and trade him, but that would be kind of fun. But there we go, man. That got us caught up. So weirdly, the Western Conference, which finished yesterday, has the first game 1. So game 1 is tomorrow. No basketball tonight. So get ready to learn one WNBA game or some MLB action. Or just go watch something else. We've got game 1 tomorrow night. What time are these games starting? These all like 8:30. Let's go look at the schedule. So game 1 tomorrow night, Tuesday, Timberwolves and Thunder. It starts at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Then on Wednesday, 8 o'clock, Pacers and Knicks. And are we like every other day? I think, we've got every other day throughout the weekend. That's beautiful. So we've got a game every single day starting on Tuesday. That's going to be fun. That'll be fun action. The other thing that happened, guys, I don't know if you saw this story. I saw Front Office Sports. Let me see if I can find my bookmarks here. Front Office Sports released something last night about the Phoenix Suns and the Phoenix organization. And Phoenix stays getting sued. All right. Right. From Sarver and there's still some other stuff that I saw a suit come out last week that I meant to talk about. And then I got distracted, but about security, about people just trying to like bring firearms in there and like just all this wild stuff. Now, this is post Sarver. Now, this is what I saw that came out. And again, this is from Front Office Sports. Phoenix Suns and Phoenix Mercury CEO Josh Bartlestein was sleeping with former Phoenix Mercury player Sophie Cunningham. This was discovered after a former employee recently filed a lawsuit against the Suns. When Bartlestein asked plaintiff to reveal what Craig was saying, plaintiff explained that Craig had been telling others Josh Bartlestein is fucking Sophie Cunningham. What is going on in Phoenix? What is happening? What is going on? Like, I don't understand how like rotten to a core an organization has to be. You think, wow, my knee just cracked so bad. Oh my God. That's how worked up I was getting. Whoa. Cracked so bad. My toes just tingled. Whoa. But how is it rotten to the core this poorly where you're out there like after this would be like if the Clippers front office was still doing this shit after they got rid of their guy. Like, how long ago was Sarver fired now? This 3 or 4 years ago? And then Ishbia out here still doing it with the Suns. It's crazy. So Phoenix, see you later, Kevin Durant. Man, if I'm even Devin Booker, I know he wants to retire his son. Just gone. Now, Sophie Cunningham, I believe, is on the Indiana Fever now, right? And I think she didn't play game 1. I think she was hurt. But don't worry, she was talking to freaking Dave Portnoy. You can have him, Indiana. You can have Portnoy. Take him. He can be your guy. You can keep him. Celtics don't need him. Celtics don't need him. We'll just settle for Donnie Wahlberg, and that's it. Donnie, and that's it. Oh, man. But I think that's it for this. Most of the stuff we've got going on this week. What do you guys have anything else in here? Anything else that we needed to touch upon for the weekend? I know we went live yesterday, too, at the after Game 7. Shout out to everybody that joined on playback. You can, I'm sure we'll be doing all of it. We'll be doing all of the conference finals tomorrow. Mike, give me realistic targets for Kuminga. I honestly don't know, man. I have no clue. I have no clue what the Kuminga market is going to look like. I don't know what it's hard to expect you're going to get anything back from him when your organization tanked his value for an entire season, right? He didn't play. It took, you guys needed to be without like 4 or 5 guys before you started even playing him in the postseason. So, I mean, no one to blame but your own organization for just tanking that value, especially I think if you knew you weren't going to play him, man, should have moved off of him in the offseason last year, So I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know who's out there saying ooh, give me Kuminga. It depends what the sign and trade looks like. It depends what it looks like. I don't expect much of a culture change. Yeah, I mean, Ishbia was always a scumbag, just a little bit different, right? Can't imagine wanting to give up an asset for the right to overpay Kuminga. Exactly, that's what I mean. And who knows though? Maybe his extension looks bad, and I don't think he's that bad. I think Kuminga should go somewhere. I think he'll obviously flourish there. He might just be a guy that he seems destined for the Chicago Bulls, as Regulator puts that in the chat. Bulls receive Moody, Kuminga, and Golden State receive Vooch and Ayo. I think that's fun. I think the Warriors would be happy with that to get a real center, even though he's not like a real center, but at least he's a pick and pop guy. That would make a ton of sense there. I also like Ayo. And I free Moody, free Kuminga. I know Moody was trash in that second round, but I'm a Moody truther. Get him in a new location. Let him have some fun. I think that would be good. I wonder if Chicago, I guess that makes sense for Chicago too. I wonder what Chicago does. Yeah, Kuminga plus Giddey would be hilarious. Just all the cast-offs from good teams. I wonder what Chicago does. Do they, because Giddey can get paid this offseason, right? Kobe White, they've already paid. But do they keep this core that they have? Do they move off some more guys? Also, man, Bucelis with Kuminga and Giddey. Someone's going to have to learn to shoot some threes on that team, especially if they move off of Vooch. Good God, is that Jalen Smith music? Maybe they play Bucelis at the 5. Yeah. We got plenty of time for off-season stuff. Yeah, IQ got $32 million a year. Shout out Emmanuel quickly. Toronto Raptors organization. Stay W's, baby. Stay W's. Brandon Ingram, Emmanuel quickly. Let's get it. Masai, next level thinking, baby. OKC wins mean we have to suffer more awful commercials to stand. Hey, listen, again, I'll stand on this. I will take those OKC commercials over the Knicks one. I think the Knicks one is corny as hell. All right. I think it's corny as hell. All right. Rest of the week. We've got the NBA bet Monday through Friday. Tonight, 9 p.m. late night action, 9 p.m. for Count the Dings. Our new episode of Hoop Sense with Trey. Trey's back. All moved and settled in his new home. And then what do we have? Then we've got 89 Cavs later this week. We got a lot of stuff. If OKC wins this year, is it the beginning of a dynasty? I don't know, man. I think it's going to be really hard for anybody to have a dynasty. What a hot take. But I just, once they start paying people, are they going to be able to pay J-Dub, Chet, and SGA all at the same time? How are they going to approach it? Does Dort Report go find a new home? Do they move off of what? They're going to have to pay people. I think it's going to be tough. MLB weeklies just dropped. All right. We didn't do well this in the weeklies, but did the dailies drop too? I thought we had another. We might be able to craft something. Here, let's go see if we can craft something. Let's go see. Coming into the Wizards, who would you get back for that? Who would you get back for that? Let's claim some rewards here. No, I need the dailies. All right, it's only 62 essence. I think I did better on the freaking dailies than I did on the weekly once again. I want a Lindor this weekend for coming in second. What do we have for Oh, no, that's XP. We've got 883 in limited, so we can't craft yet. We'll be able to craft once the dailies drop, I think. Marcus, yeah, I don't think you'd want Marcus Smart, would you? Yeah, I don't think Kispert makes a little bit more sense for shooting. Free Kispert, baby. Free him. Free Corey Kispert. All right, dudes, we're going to call it there. We're going to call it there. We'll be back tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow might be an off day now that we're saying it. I don't know. What are we going to talk about tomorrow? We'll see. We'll see what happens. TBD. Definitely Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But it's tough. What are we going to do tonight, guys? What are we going to do? No basketball. A lot of Kispert talk in the chat. I love it. A lot of hot takes on Corey Kispert. Hope everybody has a good start to the week. See you tonight at 9. Otherwise, next time the NBA Bits live, we out skis.